The hum of treadmills, the clanking of weights, and the faint smell of rubber mats, mixed with energy drinks, filled the air of Ironworks Fitness. It was just another quiet evening for me, at least until she walked in Karen. Her arrival was announced by her piercing voice, as if the gym had instantly been placed under new management the second she set foot inside. I had just settled onto a treadmill, adjusting the incline, when Karen's shadow fell over me. She was in her mid-40s, with platinum blonde hair tied into a bun so tight it seemed to stretch her eyebrows higher than nature intended. Dressed in a blinding neon tracksuit, she exuded that particular brand of confidence only Karen's carried, the kind fueled not by knowledge but by the belief that rules bent to their will. "Excuse me," she snapped, tapping her manicured nails on the treadmill console. "This is my machine. I always use this one. You'll have to move." I removed my earbuds, blinking in confusion. Around us, at least a dozen treadmills stood empty. "Ma'am, I just started. There are plenty of others available." Her lips curled into a smirk. "Don't ma'am me. I'm a premium member here. Unlike you, I actually pay for the good membership. And people like you." She gave me a quick head-to-toe glance, disapproving of my old sneakers and plain T-shirt, "don't belong in gyms like this." A few gym-goers had begun to watch. Karen thrived on an audience, her posture straightening as she raised her voice. "Seriously, are you even a member? You look like you wandered in off the street. I should call the manager and have you escorted out." I could feel the irritation bubbling under my calm exterior. Years of discipline had taught me not to react rashly, but Karen's smugness pressed every button I had. Still, I stayed seated on the treadmill and gave her a polite smile. "Go ahead, call the manager." Karen grinned as if she'd just won. "Oh, I will. And you'll regret ever stepping foot in here." She strutted toward the front desk like she was leading a parade, heels clicking against the rubber floor. Whispers trailed behind her, and a few members shot me sympathetic looks. I simply adjusted my earbuds back in, waiting. Something told me this was going to get interesting. Minutes later, Karen returned with the gym manager in tow. A tall man in his late 30s, broad-shouldered, dressed in a polo with the Ironworks logo. His face was stern, but as soon as his eyes met mine, his entire demeanor shifted. Karen pointed a triumphant finger at me. "That's him! Kick him out!" But the manager froze, then snapped to attention in a way that stunned the entire room. With a crisp salute, he declared loudly, "General, welcome back." The gym fell silent. The words echoed across the gym like a dropped dumbbell. "General, welcome back." Every pair of eyes swiveled from the manager to me, then back again. Karen's smirk evaporated instantly, replaced by wide-eyed confusion. "The General?" she stammered, her finger trembling mid-air, as though pointing at me suddenly burned her skin. "What are you talking about? He's just some scruffy guy hogging my treadmill." The manager straightened his posture, still at full salute. "With respect, ma'am, you're mistaken. This man isn't just a member here. He's a decorated veteran, and one of our most respected patrons. When he served, he earned the title of General." A hush fell over the gym. Even the clanging weights seemed to pause as people processed his words. Some nodded, as if the pieces had clicked into place. Others stared in disbelief. Karen, however, wasn't having it. "General, what is this? Some kind of prank?" She let out a sharp laugh, though it was laced with nervousness. "I don't believe it. Look at him. He's wearing cheap sneakers. He doesn't look like some important person." The manager's eyes hardened. "Respect doesn't come from sneakers, ma'am. It comes from years of service, sacrifice, and leadership. This man commanded battalions while you were still deciding what color yoga mat to buy." A ripple of chuckles rolled through the crowd, though quickly stifled. Karen's cheeks turned crimson. But he can't just claim he's special," she sputtered, her voice rising again. "I'm a premium member. I pay extra every month for this gym. Doesn't that give me more rights than him?" The manager folded his arms, no longer saluting but still standing tall beside me. "No membership fee can outshine honor. And for your information, General here's membership is permanently free." a gesture from the owner himself. Gasps spread like wildfire. Karen's jaw dropped so far it looked as if it might never close again. "For free?" she squeaked. I finally spoke, my tone calm but edged with amusement. "Karen, I didn't come here to cause trouble. I just came to run. But if you're determined to turn this gym into a battlefield, well," I let the silence hang for a moment. "You should know, I don't lose battles." A few nearby gym-goers couldn't contain their laughter this time. Karen spun on them with a glare, but their grins only grew wider. She turned back to the manager, desperation creeping into her voice. "Are you really going to let him stay after the way he talked to me?" The manager didn't flinch. "Not only is he staying, ma'am, you owe him an apology." Karen gasped, as if he'd just suggested she lift a 100-pound barbell with one hand. Karen's face twisted in disbelief. Like the word apology was an alien concept she'd never heard before. Her arms crossed tightly across her chest, nails tapping against her sleeves in rapid-fire irritation. "Excuse me?" she scoffed, her voice shrill enough to turn heads in the free weight section. "I should apologize to him? For what?" "For standing up for my rights as a premium member." The manager's eyes narrowed, his tone cool but commanding. "No, ma'am. For disrespecting a man who has earned more than a treadmill. He has earned this community's respect." Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. She sputtered like a car with a dead battery, then finally blurted, "This is ridiculous. You're all just making up stories to embarrass me." "General? Ha! He probably bought one of those cheap medals online." That jab made the room shift. A collective murmur of disapproval rose among the gym-goers. One man from the squat rack spoke up, his deep voice carrying, "Lady, you better watch your mouth. My brother served under him overseas. Everything the manager said is true." Another woman added, "Yeah, I remember the article in the paper." The gym owner made a big deal about honoring him. "You must have missed it while you were too busy complaining about towel sizes." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Karen's cheeks burned brighter than the neon stripes on her tracksuit. I stayed silent, letting the tide of truth wash over her. Years of command had taught me the power of silence. It makes people hear their own mistakes louder than any lecture. Karen stomped her foot, the sound muffled against the rubber floor. "I don't owe him anything. I have the right to choose my treadmill and—" "Ma'am," the manager interrupted firmly. "If you refuse to apologize, I'll have no choice but to suspend your membership, premium or not." The room went utterly still. You could hear the squeak of sneakers on mats, the faint hum of ceiling fans. Karen's eyes widened. "Suspend my membership?" The manager nodded. "This gym has one rule above all others. Respect. If you can't show it, you can't stay." Karen's gaze darted around the room, searching for allies. But the faces staring back at her were unsympathetic. Arms crossed, heads shaking. She was cornered. Finally, she turned back to me, her lips pursed so tightly they nearly disappeared. I'm sorry," she muttered, barely above a whisper. I tilted my head. "Sorry, what was that?" Her teeth clenched audibly. "I said I'm sorry." The words hung in the air, sharp and bitter. She looked as if saying them had physically pained her. I gave a polite nod. Apology accepted. But little did Karen know, this battle wasn't over. Karen's apology hung in the air like a fragile truce. The gym-goers watched closely, some smirking, others waiting for my response. For a moment, the room felt like a parade ground. Tense silence. All eyes locked on one figure. I gave a single nod, slow and measured, like a commander acknowledging a salute. "That will do," I said simply. The tension broke, a few chuckles escaping the crowd, and the normal rhythm of weights and machines slowly resumed. Karen, however, wasn't ready to surrender completely. She huffed, muttering under her breath as she stomped toward another treadmill at the far end of the row. Her bright neon tracksuit flashed like a warning beacon, though now it looked more like a flag of retreat. The manager stayed beside me, his tone softening. "It's good to see you again, General. The owner still talks about the day you visited after returning home. Says it was one of the proudest moments for this gym." I smiled faintly, adjusting my earbuds. "I'm not here for ceremonies. I'm here to sweat, just like everyone else." He nodded with respect. "And that's exactly why everyone respects you." Then, leaning closer, he added with a grin, "Still, it was worth it to see her face when I saluted." I chuckled. "You certainly know how to make an entrance." From across the gym, Karen kept casting glances my way. Her expression caught somewhere between anger and embarrassment. Every time her eyes met mine, she quickly looked away, pretending to be absorbed in adjusting her treadmill settings. But it was clear she wouldn't forget this lesson anytime soon. As I began my run, a few members passed by, offering subtle nods of acknowledgement. One man clapped me lightly on the shoulder. "Glad you didn't let her push you around, sir." "Thank you," I replied, but my mind was elsewhere. I'd faced greater challenges on battlefields across the world. This was just a small skirmish, yet somehow it carried its own weight. Respect isn't just demanded, it's earned, tested, and sometimes defended, even in the most unlikely places, like a suburban gym. By the time I finished my workout, Karen had left in a storm of clashing neon and muttered complaints. The crowd no longer paid her any mind. She was just another member now, stripped of her imagined authority. As I wiped down the treadmill, the manager approached once more. He raised his hand, not in a salute this time, but in a firm handshake. "Welcome back, General. The gym's always better when you're here." I clasped his hand firmly. "And it's good to know some battles still end in victory, without a single shot fired." With that, I walked out of Ironworks Fitness. Leaving behind whispers of the night, Karen learned the meaning of true respect. Because sometimes, the greatest lessons aren't taught on battlefields, but on treadmills. Enjoying this wild Karen versus General showdown at the gym? Hit that subscribe button for more unbelievable, real-life stories turned dramatic tales. Also, give this video a like if you loved the twist, and drop a comment below. What would you have done if Karen tried to kick you off the treadmill?